All right, so this is apparently a product. Now, if you can't really see a product out of this function, or if you want something to make it more visual for yourself, I recommend you doing this. Use parentheses. Always use parentheses. You cannot overuse parentheses right here. And when we go to next week, when we talk about chain rule, oh, parentheses, they are your good friend, good friends. All right, so let's go ahead and find out f prime of x, which will require you to use product rule. So the derivative of the first one is just 1 times cosine of x, and then plus x times negative sine of x. Okay, use parentheses. Nobody is pushing you to obtain the answer in one single step. I would not do it, so you don't have to do it either. And then what you would do next is that you say cosine of x minus x sine x. That would be your final answer for your f prime of x. Okay. And then they ask you, what is the f prime of? Pi over 4. So you simply apply the pi over 4, insert it into the place of x, pi over 4, and sine of pi over 4. Now, here's the part that I want to emphasize right here. Don't get emotional. Don't get emotional. What I mean is that, well, first, you should know your trig values. And you may find this a little bit weird that, hey, how come there's a pi over 4 at the end right here? And that's what I meant. Don't get emotional. Math is math. If they're there, then they are just going to stay there. All right, not a problem. It's not a crime to stay there. So so you can say this final answer would be pi root 2 in the second term over 8. So root 2 over 2 minus pi root 2 over 8. And I don't really see a point of you combining them together, but in case you do, you may do this. In case there's a multiple choice and you did not see anything that is shown, then your teacher might want you to factor out the root 2 just like this. But hey, if you give me this one, I would take it. Okay. But sometimes for multiple choice questions, they want to see something more, such as, I want to see if you can combine those fractions together, just to see if you are proficient enough to handle these simple tasks. Well, you learn it in middle school, right? I would consider it simple, but here's the thing, like calculus is like early part of calculus in my own with my own experience. When I took calculus 1 in college, I felt this. First, nobody told me that graphing is important. So when I walked into a calculus class, I had not much of an idea about graphing. At the same time, when I was shown this equation, and I was like, huh? What is this equation? Do you know what this equation is for? It looks familiar because you did do something with this equation in pre-calculus. It is a circle. And how do you know it's a circle? Because the x and the y are both squared, right? Now, we're not going to dive into the whole ellipses and hyperbola, those kind of crazy stuff. No. But the reason why I remember this example is because I learned one thing in the early part of calculus, and that is this. And by the way, you will see this too. From the circle equation, there are actually 2 separate equations that it generates. And now, to be very honest, when I was looking at those 2 equations in black, I had no idea that they were related to circle. And then I found out that they are related to circle, And I was like, oh, that's how they're related. So this is the circle with a radius of 2, right? What is the equation on the left? The top half of the circle. That's why there's no negative in front of the square root. And can you guess what the second equation is for? The bottom half of the circle. That's what there is a negative. All right. There's a negative there. And what we will do next in the future with these equations, well, is a graph, right? We are curious about the slope of these graphs, and you are going to find those out in the future. Okay, you are going to find those out in the future. But for now, I'm just giving you a little heads up. This appeared back in pre-calc. If you don't have it, you better put these into your pocket right now. If not, things could be miserable.